Hello there, and welcome back to the neighborhood, the People's Channel, your one-stop shop for unbiased and uninfluenced audio-related content here on YouTube. Today we're taking a look at a brand new IEM from Meze, the Alba. This is a 10.2mm dynamic driver in a similar shell to an IEM that we reviewed from Meze before, the Advar. I like that IEM, but what will I think of this one? Let's get into it. So the build of this IEM does look similar to the Advar, but its sound is very different. And there are some key differences with the build to take note of as well. To start with, the color of this IEM is a stunning pearl white. I quite like this color, and it's much better looking than the chocolate brown of the Advar. The coating of the Alba's paint also feels smoother than the Advar, and less thick to the touch as well. This may contribute to the fact that the Alba is noticeably lighter in its weight compared to the Advar. The Advar also used an MMCX connection, while the Alba has been upgraded to a 2-pin connection this go-around. The cable of the Alba also appears more delicate in its flow and lighter in its heft, with a nice metal Y-split, a metal straight 3.5mm termination, and a functional chin cinch. This chin cinch is almost bead-like, even though it's plastic, so I'll give it a pass. And I think it functions and blends in well with the rest of the cable without being unsightly. Meze also sent a 4.4mm upgrade cable as well, which is ultimately an identical build other than the included 4.4mm termination. Sound of this cable was no different, and although the inclusion of a balance cable provides flexibility, I'm not convinced that the balance power here enhances any sound-related outcomes with the Alba. A USB-C to female 3.5mm dongle DAC comes with the Alba too, and it even lights up when plugged into a device. A nice-sized, zipper-sealed carrying case with a plushly lined internal cavity is also included inside the box of the Alba, and holds this IEM, its cable, and dongle DAC well for transport. But to wrap things up with the build and accessories, lastly, 4 sets of white silicone ear tips are included in the box too. These ear tips range in size from extra small to large, ensuring a nice fit and good seal for the masses. They help with insertion depth and comfort, and remind me of horned ear tips, which I have recommended in prior reviews of certain IEMs. In any case, these stock ear tips provide a great sound with the Alba, and will remain my recommended ear tip for this set. In all, I applaud Meze for how thoughtful they appear to have been with this IEM, as they have put together a functionally phenomenal package with the Alba, and all for only $149. But let's jump into the sound of the Alba and discuss its acoustic properties and characteristics. Most notably, timbre and tonal balance are fairly excellent with the Alba, especially for its price point. It's an overall relaxed presentation, but ultimately pushes sound through to the ear well enough to be pleasant and without recognizable veil. Still, it's more subtle in its nature and natural in its delivery, and there are certainly more resolving sets at $150. Even so, it's not far off from these other sets, and as a single dynamic, it's more than capable in its detail and resolution too. The stage presents as only slightly above average from left to right, but projects forward well and shows its dimension better on some spots of music than others. Yet, for the price, individual notes and instruments separate themselves well from one another and with refinement and polish. Transients are natural, but somewhat delicate in their delivery. Dynamics have enough impact for enjoyment, but aren't a standout characteristic for this set. The bass relies more on a sub-bass and low bass emphasis that is embellished, but never overwhelming. It's mostly assistive and keeping out of the way of other sonics overall. The Alba also does not really suffer from any notable bass bleed into the mids, and its low end is pleasant and gels well with other sonics as a whole. Bass detail is decent, but it's not the most expressive or quickly resolving bass either. Again, coming across as more assistive than dominant in the mix. The mid-range is relaxed but detailed. Vocals may come across as slightly thin on some tracks, but for the most part, they sound rather on point to my ear, standing out appropriately and equally for both male and female singers. Vocals aren't overly forward, but they hang in the middle and are separated well on most tracks, with good to great isolation from the rest of the mix. They have a somewhat haunting quality to their expression and possess a great depth and dimension when called upon to do so. For example, on Bonnie Raitt's Angel from Montgomery, her vocals really pop and expand forward into the space. I really love the vocals on this track, and it's a great one on the Alba. Still, there's a certain consistent thinness to the general presentation of the Alba, from its vocals and otherwise, and while slight, may be off-putting to some. In terms of its treble performance, I'd call its treble expertly rolled. In other words, it's somewhat rolled off, but also present enough from a global standpoint. It's definitely stepped down, but the top end layers well and it's recognizable for most music. But make no mistake, this isn't Americanized tuning and relaxed from a top end perspective, and its demonstration of air is certainly there, but mild without being overbearing. So it does suffer a bit in terms of its treble accuracy with specific regard to its extension, and while I would like a bit more, a lot of listeners tell me that they prefer such a presentation as this one. And with such a presentation, there are also certain positive outcomes that come with it, such as an absence of harshness, sibilance, or an assault on the eardrums with certain instruments. I could listen to any track with the Alba, and it's always pleasurable to do so, and I suspect that these will please the masses and seasoned audiophiles alike. So with the Alba, the experience as a whole feels very comfortable indeed. It's decently relaxed, with decent details and enough air. Neither the bass nor the treble are too intense, albeit the general response has a slight thinness throughout that may bother some. But it doesn't bother this reviewer, and at $150 and under, this is the IEM that I likely want to listen to now every time I step towards my box of IEMs. It may not be the most resolving thing under the sun, but it's resolving enough. It makes up for its mild lack of resolution with its general solid performance. And while I thought that the Advar was somewhat overpriced for its package, Meze seems to have gone out of its way to offer a lot with the Alba this time, which is somewhat of a surprising but welcome move from them, at least in the eyes of this reviewer. Thanks for making it to the end of this video and watching it in its entirety to get an accurate understanding of the presentation of this IEM. I really appreciate my viewers and hope that you not only drop a like on this video, but also make sure that you're subscribed to the channel with notifications turned on in order to make sure that you don't miss a future video from yours truly. Thanks again to Meze for sending the Alba into the channel for review. I'll place links to the Alba and other social media locations for this channel in the description below so that you can check them out in your spare time. And with that, I'm out for now.